Hello cruising world, Mick the Suit Guy with you again. Today I want to talk to you about tipping on a Carnival cruise ship. As you may know, I've only cruised Carnival, but I'm sure what I'm about to tell you is similar for most cruise lines. So, what are tips? How much do they cost? Why do you have to pay them? Well, the easiest question to answer is why you have to pay them. That's because the staff on a cruise ship work harder than anybody else on the face of this planet, if you ask me. Every one of them is working between 10 and 16 hours a day minimum, 7 days a week, 6 to 9 months contract, and they're doing that pretty much every day. They get very, very little time off. And they're working really hard to make sure your cruise is everything you want it to be. If they ever get time off, they're going to be doing one of two things most of the time. Either rushing ashore if they're in port to find a Wi-Fi spot, or going back to their cabin and sleeping because they get so little sleep. I'm not kidding. I've seen people that go to bed, they finish work at 1 and they get up at 4 to start the next shift. It happens a lot. So you've no idea how hard these people work until you see them in action. Non-stop. So they earn these tips. And let's be honest, their salary isn't great. So these tips make up the vast majority of their salary. That is why you should tip. If you come from a country like England or Australia, where it's not a tipping culture, you better get used to the fact that you're in a country where there is a tipping culture and get ready to tip. Don't take your tips off and not tip the people that work so hard to make your cruise awesome. So, my vent out the way. How do the tips work? Well, on a Carnival cruise line, you're going to pay 2 different types of tips. Well, 3 because you have a third choice, which we'll get to. But the main 2. One is you pay $13.99 a day per person. That will cover your room steward, your dining room team, and what we call the alternate services. That's people in the background you don't necessarily see. That would be more people like in the kitchen and stuff, but just people you don't see on a day-to-day basis. With the room steward, you're going to have 2 assigned to your room, and you're going to see them pretty much every day. And they're going to talk to you every day. They'll know your names within 2 seconds of meeting you, and they'll be the nicest people, and they'll be the best start to your day ever, because they always have a smile on their face, and they're going to put you in a good mood for the rest of the day. Same with your dining room team in the evening. There's going to be typically 3 people assigned to your table area, the head guy, and then 2 assistants working with them. So you're going to have 3 people, and they'll do a great job for you as well. Unless you have anytime dining, then it's going to change every night. That's the dining team's only going to stay the same if you have assigned seating, which is what we like to do. So that $13.99 is broken down. The room stewards get about $4.35. If you're in a balcony or below, if you're in a suite, you're going to pay $2 extra per person per day because they have more room stewards, more work to do, bigger rooms. So they will pay a little bit extra if you're in a suite. The dining room team, they're going to get $6.89 a day. I don't know where they come for that figure from, but they do. I guess that's because they make it $13.99, not $14 to make it look more even, but whatever. So they're going to get that. And then the alternate services, the people behind the scenes, they're going to get $2.75 a day. Now there's one big group missing from that amount. That are the bartenders. The bartenders are completely separate on the tips. They don't get any of that $13.99. They will get tips per drink based on what you buy. If you're on the Cheers program, you will prepay the gratuities. When you buy the program, they'll automatically add 18%. So when you buy the program, that's going to be added. So you won't pay, I think it's $51.95 a day. If you buy in advance, don't buy in the ship, 10% saving in advance. When you buy it, 18% is going to get added to gratuities, which makes it something in the region of $60.57, I think it is, per day. So you don't have to worry about it then. But if you are just buying drinks and you're not on the Cheers program, every time you buy a drink, you'll sign the paper, you'll give them your sign and sell card, they'll come back, you sign for it, and it's going to say, your drink was $6.95, $5.95, whatever, and underneath that they're going to add the 18% gratuity. And then that's what you signed for. There's an additional line where you could add extra gratuity if you wanted to. Say you're really happy with the bartender, which you will be. Say at the end of the week they've done a great job for you, you want to give them a little bit extra. You can add anything you want onto that. Now, the gratuity that automatically gets posted, that 18%, that is going to go into a pool that is shared by all the bartenders on the ship. If you add anything extra, you physically write an extra amount in, whatever that amount is, that is going to go directly to the person that served you that drink. Give them cash, it's just as easy, much easier, but that's the way that's going to work. So they're going to pull the tips unless you physically write an extra tip on there. So don't be shocked when you see that and budget for it. A lot of people aren't even aware that there's going to be tips. They don't read up on it in advance, know it's going to happen, and know you probably need to pay it because they work so hard. And if you don't pay those tips, they're working for you for nothing pretty much, because they do not get paid that much of a salary. Now, how can you pay for this? Can you pay for it in advance? Yes, there are ways to pay your tips in advance. When you book your cruise, you can prepay the tips. Same way you can prepay when you book your insurance if you want to book insurance. And you can also include that on your monthly payments. Carnival does a really awesome thing where you can pay monthly. So if you book your cruise 2 years before the cruise, you have to pay it 3 months before, so you can split your balance amongst 21 monthly payments interest-free. Nobody else does that for that long. Norwegian does it over 12 months, Royal Caribbean does it and they charge 15% interest. No other cruise lines that I'm aware of even offer anything. Carnival, throughout the whole duration, from when you book to when you sail, you get an interest-free payment plan, basically, which is huge. And you can add your tips to that, and you can add your insurance and spread those payments out with no interest. Of course, you can pay it all up front, whatever you want to do, but you have that option too. Another option you have, if you have a Carnival MasterCard and they have the rewards program, if you ever look in there, you'll see there's tons of things you can apply your points to as you use your credit card and you accrue reward points. One of them is prepaid tips, and it would depend on the length of your cruise. It's one amount for a 3-day, 4-day, 5-day, and so on. However long your cruise is, there's an option there to prepay the tips. You can do that. Obviously, other than that, you can just pay when you get on board. Posts, the tips will post 2 days or so before the end of the cruise. So if you're not expecting it, that can be a bit of a shock. On a 7-day cruise, it's somewhere in the region of $100 a person. So all of a sudden, you're checking your sign and sail account for the day, and $200, if there's 2 of you in the cabin, suddenly hits your account. You're like, where'd that come from? I didn't even know that was going to happen. It's the tips, and they're going to hit towards the end. They don't post them up front. So be ready, be budgeted for it, know it's going to happen. If you ever go down to the guest services desk on the last couple of days, that's when the big lines come, because everybody that didn't know it was coming is questioning all of the tips that just hit on there. I tell you what we do, and this is an optional thing that you can do completely. We will actually go down to guest services, and we will take the tips for the housekeeping team, room stewards, and the dining room team off. We'll leave the tips for the alternate services on because we're never going to see them. What we're going to do is at the end of the cruise, we're physically going to tip our personal room steward and our personal dining team in cash. Because that's just the way we like to do it. We like to give the people that actually serve us the money. And we'll end up giving them more than we would have the other way. But we feel a bit better doing it that way, knowing that those people physically got money from us. A lot of people will do the $13.99 a day and give a tip, which is a completely optional thing for you to do as well. You know, you base it on what sort of service you've had during the week. But we personally like to take that money off and give extra to the people that work directly for us. It's another option you have. Obviously, again, with the bartenders, the only way you can really give them an extra tip is to physically give it to whoever's been great for you. And I promise you they'll all be great. But if anybody's been outstanding and over the top, you can do that. And of course, another way you can reward the staff, another like non-cost tip, is when you do your review after the cruise, Carnival will send you an email asking you to review your experience on the cruise. If you had people that really worked hard and really served you well, write their names on that. That's like a free tip, because they do take note of that. You know, they do post. I've been behind the scenes on the cruise ships. I've seen the boards in the crew deck area, and they post comments that come on those comment cards on a bulletin board. And there's nothing better than knowing that you've been appreciated by people. So you have that option as well. So, a little bit long-winded maybe, but hopefully that explains tips for you. Tip them. If I find out any of you did not tip and you just took those tips off and kept it for yourself, I don't want to know who you are. The rest of you, see you later, Cruising World.